Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Pitch International with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the last trading day of the month, guys. If you're thinking where summer has gone, well, we only have one summer, 2 months left of summer. So one summer gone, one month of summer is gone. But hey, time flies, honestly. I think we're having too much fun. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Pitch International. As I said before, today is the 30th of June. 2023. So, yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session, where we're gonna have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff, guys. But before we go further, as always, we need to quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, where's that? There is disclaimer. The content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear from that little left corner in there, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump in further, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. Feel free to, give us a shout. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to help you out, guys. So, without further ado, Nikkei 225. And as I said, yes, welcome to the last trading day of this month, this week, of course. Yeah, let's see how this month is kind of ending for Nikkei. This is the futures market, by the way. All indices I'm looking at are the futures. So what we can see here is that we got to hold up below this downside line. So I talked about this yesterday when I came back. I said to you that, look, for me to go further north, I need to see a break of this downside line at least. That would be my extra confirmation. In general, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more maybe towards the upside right now. However, cautiously, very, very, very cautiously to the upside, because again, a lot of confirmation is needed. And another thing is that, look, I think that a lot of people are expecting, like a correction and something like that, like a deeper correction to the downside. Yes, I think that we all are kind of secretly expecting that. However, to be honest, look, before going into next Fed meeting, which will be at the end of July, and of course, everybody's expecting now for a rate hike, and because on Wednesday, all the heads of the ECB, the heads of the central banks confirmed that more rate hikes could happen, and this kind of is like could be spooking the market, but actually, look, I think that we might see some more upside if we just kind of maybe the market will just continue rallying unless something really comes out with something disturbing that comes out. Not the central bank rate hikes. No, that's disturbing enough already, but everybody's kind of adjusting to that. However, if something extraordinary comes out, then that's where what could maybe trigger a little sell-off or something like that. But at this point, I'm not seeing anything like that. So, and yes, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the upside. But even with the upside, I need to see a push above this barrier right here in order to go a little bit higher. For the downside, from the very short-term perspective, a drop below the 32,923 territory could open the door to some lower levels, but ideally I would prefer to wait for a drop below the 32,310 zone right there. Oh, by the way, just let me drop a good morning to everybody in the chat room. Good morning, everyone. So yeah, let's get that ball rolling. Yeah, good morning, everyone, guys, who's tuning in right now. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Friday. Okay, look, ASX 200. ASX 200 is looking quite interesting, and look, this is where it's trying to push back up. It's trying to make its way higher, but as I said to you yesterday, I said that, look, I would like to wait maybe for a break of this downside line and a push above the 7,200 territory right here, because if this gets broken, we would also be placed above all of the EMAs here on my daily chart, and potentially more buyers could join in. So at this point, I would say it's a little bit tricky here. I would just continue observing the price action. For the downside, I would start looking at some lower levels if we do drop somewhere below this 7,125.21 territory right here. Jumping into China. By the way, I have a bunch of instruments that I really want to go through, and yeah, I want to mention all of them, so I'm trying to kind of fit into my time. But yeah, China 50. Look, the plan, the trading plan is still the same for me. In order for me to go lower, a drop below this 12,200 territory is required. And for the upside, at least in the short run, a push above the 12,563 territory is needed as well. Then we could go towards this downside line to check it out, or maybe this other downside line right here. Well, I do have two of them here, but both of them are tentative. Not the most maybe strongest of the trend lines, but hey, I'll keep them for now. I'll see how it plays out, but at this point, as I said, I am keeping an eye on these two barriers right here. Now, Nifty 50 looking good, honestly. This index is, I think, one of the best performers so far in general. The Indian market is looking quite good, I would say. And look, we've cleared some barriers here, and I think you know what? Let me remove everything and let me start fresh. Now, first thing first, I want to mark this barrier right here. This one right there. Let me just adjust this very quickly to the standards that I like. So there we go. The 19,000 mark. We've cleared it. We've cleared that hurdle, and basically now it seems like, yeah, the sky's the limit for this one. It could go further north. Let me just check something. Maybe we don't have much data on this one. Let me just see what's happening here. And yeah, as much history as I can. So yeah, we're at all-time highs basically on Nifty 50. We're at all-time highs, and yeah, this is just like I said, this is just amazing for the Indian market. And how far will it go? That's a good question, but so far I think that this has been triggered a lot by, I think, Modi's visit to the U.S. You know, then and in general the positivity that surrounded everything, and you know, from that visit. But yeah, okay. Politics are helping Nifty 50 to fly, you know, further up. Of course, don't get me wrong. The higher we fly, the harder we fall. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. But at this point, look, I would say, let's continue monitoring this one. Let's at this point, I would say I'm just aiming for levels like something like round like 19,200, 250, 300, because we're in uncharted territory, and yeah, it's a little bit difficult. So in the futures here, you can see that yes, we're already above that, so we've cleared that psychological 19,000 mark, and I think that I'm going to continue targeting the upside, and I'm going to be aiming for, like I said, in this 19,250, 300, 400, 450, and so on and so on. So, because like I said, we are in uncharted territory. Nasdaq. Look, okay, yesterday I think it was flat. Yeah, it was flat yesterday. The best gainers from the top three were was the Dow, then followed by the S&P, and then, of course, Nasdaq, which kind of ended up being flat. Not the most exciting, maybe, trading, but hey, maybe it's preparing itself for something a little bit better than this. So, long story short, I will stick to the same game plan. I said to you before that if we do push and stay above this downside line, then yes, there is potential for this one to move further, excuse me, further north. But by further north, I mean this 15,475 territory. It's not the all-time high like on on Nifty 50, but still a decent level here. Let's see if we can reach that, but again, only as long as we stay above the downside line. And actually, I would say this way, as long as we stay above this 14,853 territory. If we somehow drop back below it, then yes, this may open the door towards some lower levels, because a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed, and we could target then the 50-day EMA. Jumping into the S&P 500. So we had a nice rebound here from this upside line, and yeah, everything's according to the rules, to everything that I was talking about. The idea, look, I said to you that keep your eyes on this short-term tentative upside support line drawn from the low of the 24th of May. If it holds, we might see a rebound back up, and especially if we start climbing back over the 44.33 territory right here. Now that's maybe, you know, where we could start slowly, you know, aiming higher again. But my ideal target is somewhere near that 4,500 level, and then we will go from there. Yeah. After that, we'll see how we go. But at this point, like I said, we are keeping a close eye on this 4,500 territory, as long as we stay above the 44.33 zone. Oh, excuse me. Let me just clear my throat a little bit. There we go. Okay, so, but to be honest, you know, one thing that I really want to do here actually is start getting rid of some of the lines, and I think the easiest way for this one is to remove everything. Yes, I do like to clear up the charts occasionally, because again, you need to do that. You need to clear up. By clearing up the charts, you're actually clearing up your head as well, so you're, you know, approaching everything a little bit, you know, from a clearer perspective. So at this point, I would say this way: I'm bringing back the same trend lines. We're rebounding from this one, the 44.33 territory that I spoke about. Let me just, excuse me, put it back on the chart. There we go. The next target, as I said, is this one for me, the area near the 4,500 level. And if we do continue to rally, then yes, of course, all eyes are on the 4,630 zone. Now, of course, I'm talking about all eyes are on the PCE today. And yeah, this is something that the Fed will be keeping a close eye on, because again, that inflation number excludes volatile food and energy prices. So, you know, this is what, you know, the consumer is kind of looking at as well. The Fed is looking at this. So, okay, let's see how that's going to play out, because at the moment the expectation is, let me just double check that very quickly, is for a decline on the month-on-month number, going from plus 0.4 to plus 0.3, and that's about, I'm talking about the core, and then the core month-on-month number, the core PCE. That's the one that excludes the volatile energy and yeah, and food prices. But yeah, the headline ones, let me just go back into the headline ones. The headline ones are currently expected to increase a little bit, so that's interesting. So the year-on-year number is expected to go from 4.4 to plus 4.4 to plus 4.6. Okay, so let's see. If if it does come out higher than the forecast, then yes, I think that we might see the all the central well, at least the Fed actually saying, oh my God, yes, we need to go even more maybe rate hikes and stuff like that. But look, in general, I said it before and I'll say it again. For the Fed, even when there were talks that maybe no more rate hikes or and stuff like that, no, they need to get the inflation number back to around 2%. So the hikes will continue, and I think that once they get closer to that, then they will maybe slow down. But in the meantime, maybe to please market participants, they will hike, and then they will say, "Oh, we're not going to hike anymore for a while." But then they will say, "Oh, the market is bad again. Let's hike again," and stuff like that. So just to kind of play a little bit. But what could we expect here? So look, I'm kind of stuck here because if we do see a higher number than the forecast, then we could see the indices falling a little bit. But that's the kind of the logical approach of mine. But I'm just curious that okay, if the expectation is already for a higher one, and comes out, let's say, a little bit higher, then will that actually be a big thing? Will that actually, be a negative thing for the market? I think that because the expectation is already there, maybe the indices could still kind of push a little bit higher, just basically exploiting the fact that everybody knows that the Fed will hike at the end of July, and just, hey, you know what? Why not? Let's sell off then. Well, let's ride the wave, continue riding the wave to the upside, and that's why the kind of the higher than expected PCE number, yes, it might give that little initial drop maybe to the downside on the indices, and but then it could stabilize and maybe can push back to the upside. So again, a theory, guys. Don't hold me to it. It's just an idea because again, we don't have the crystal ball, unfortunately. So I always say wait for the number to come out and then you can react. But before the number, it could be a bit of a gamble. So if you can afford the gamble, okay, be my guest. But it's only risk what you can afford to lose, and of course have your stop loss in place. Dow Jones Industrial Average. So yesterday I talked about this, and I said to you that if we do pop up with a 34,232, I will get a little bit more excited with the upside. So we got that move, but okay, we didn't really go, let's say, towards my 34,587, but we're still above the 34,232 here. If we continue to trade above it, I'm leaning towards the upside, and I'm targeting this hurdle here, the inside swing low of the 16th of June of 2023. Or, of course, the ideal scenario is to aim for that 34,889 level. That's my ideal scenario, and then we will kind of go from there. For the downside, I would prefer to wait for a drop below the 33,859 territory right here, and then yes, I will get a little bit more excited with a larger correction to the downside, because don't forget that we are still trading above this upside support line drawn from the low of the 15th of March. Now, jumping into the German index, DAX. Okay, look, I've talked about this yesterday. There's not much to mention because not much is happening here because, look, I talked about this little hurdle right here. I said to you that if we do clear it, then yes, I'll get a little bit more excited with higher levels. But at the moment, it seems like we're still struggling with it. So let's put it this way. I am not gonna get very excited with the upside until I get that clearance. And that area is roughly like around that 16,150 zone. If we do clear that, then yes, more buyers could join in. For the downside, well, ideally, I would like to see and wait for a drop below this 15,834, but I think I will start looking at some lower levels already earlier, if we do fall below the 50-day EMA, which coincides almost with the psychological 16,000 territory. So that could be a nice game plan here for the bears. But of course, don't forget that we did have a fall here below that 50-day EMA, and we had a fall here below that 50-day EMA, but then we reversed back to the upside. So that's why, don't forget that whenever we fall below an SMA or, an EMA, yes, it could be a good indication that, a further decline or a further up move here, depending on which way you've broken the EMA. It could happen, the further move, but you don't forget always about the idea that there could be some oscillation around it. So we could fall back below the 16,000 territory and fall below this 50-day EMA, but we could stall somewhere around here and then rebound and push back up and then, start kind of moving sideways around that EMA. So just don't forget about it. That's why my kind of downside scenario is preferable from around here, from around this 15,834, but I'm not excluding the fact that, if we do fall back below this 16,000 mark, then this increases the chances for a further decline. FTSE 100. So, FTSE 100, the same story. Look, we are still stuck in here. I mentioned this yesterday, this idea of a possible descending triangle pattern where the important hurdle is this one at near the 7,442, 43, or in general you could round it up to 40. Yeah, but I need to see a clearance. Oh, excuse me. Just bear with me one moment, guys. Okay, apologies for disappearing there, but I had to clear up my throat, guys. Apologies for that. Coming back, like I said, to the FTSE, I've mentioned this, and I said too that, look, if we do fall below that 7,442 territory, then yes, I'll get a little bit more excited with the downside, because it would also confirm that this idea of a descending triangle, which according to all the TA rules tends to break to the downside, this is working. So okay, let's wait and see. At this point, look, if you want to do some short-term trades, let's say if you're on a 4-hour or a 1-hour chart, if you want to capture some of these territories, then maybe you could look at this zone here, the 7,530 area. If we do pop above it, this may attract a few more buyers into the game. It would confirm a forthcoming higher high. On an hourly chart, we would be placed above all of the EMAs here, and yes, potentially this could lead to some maybe higher levels here. But again, if you're not comfortable with that, that's fine. You can wait this one out. Oh, and by the way, we got some numbers, I think, from UK, some GDP numbers. Let me just double check that very quickly. Need to refresh the page. Let's see. There we go. As expected, year on year and Q on Q. So year on year plus 0.2 as the forecast, and the Q on Q is plus 0.1 as the forecast, and as the previous one as well. Business investment improved. Yep. So in general, not bad numbers from UK. So yeah, not bad numbers from UK, and we're seeing some positivity kicking in here. But it will be interesting to jump into the pound pairs, and yes, I'll do that in a bit. US dollar index, so we're climbing slowly to the upside. It's all okay, but as I said to you yesterday, I'm waiting. I'm playing the waiting game because look, I said to you that okay, we might bounce around here, but we're stuck in this little triangle pattern. It's in a way we're coiling up. So we need to see. I would like to see actually a break of this upper side of this upper side of the triangle pattern in order to consider slightly higher levels. I'm not talking about much higher levels, but slightly higher levels. Like initially, I will be aiming for this 200-day EMA, but if that gets cleared, then I'm aiming for this downside resistance line drawn from the high of the 21st of November. So as I said, we're very close to this upper side of the triangle. Let's wait and see. Gold. Yesterday, beautiful decline, beautiful drop yesterday to the downside, and we managed to drop all the way towards that 1893 zone, and wow. We fell below that 1902 territory that I spoke about yesterday in my morning video, but as you can see, we failed to stay. Below it, and we rebounded, and look at the rebound we had here. Let me just jump into an hourly V-shaped rebound. So at this point, look, I would say this way. Just bear with me one moment. Apologies for disappearing again, guys. My throat is not my friend today. Yeah. I think we have too much dust here. But anyway, look. The picture here stands this way. That we fell yesterday below this hurdle. Okay. We did move lower. If you manage to capture this, and this is, guys, one of those moments where I say to you that you need to have always your stop loss in place, because look at this. We dropped below the 1902-03 territory right here. We created a new low for this week. We dropped by like another extra $10. But we recovered and we pushed back above this 1903 territory, and we stayed above it, and we're now still above that area. So long story short, what we need to do now is actually, you know what? I'm going to take the same approach. I'm going to leave it as it is, this 1903. If we do drop again below it, I will get again excited with further declines, because in general, okay, some of this might be as a tease for traders, and just kind of for people to say, hey, this is like one of those like candlestick analysis where you're thinking, oh, maybe this is actually something like a doji, or something like maybe not a very beautiful hammer or something like that, but look, I don't think that this is a doji or a hammer or anything. I think it just yes, we have a smaller body, and it was a battle between the bulls and the bears, and the bulls kind of won a little bit by a little bit, but we have the PCE today. So if the dollar explodes to the upside, honestly, this one can slide. This will, and in general, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside on gold still, but this is, like I said, there's a lot of buts in here. But I would like to see a drop below that 1903 territory, and I would like to see that staying below it. If it continues to oscillate around the 200-day EMA, that's no good for me. That's just okay. That's just undecisive, activity. Now, if somehow the PCE number comes out, let's say worse than, or let's say not worse, but lower, maybe this could have a negative effect on the US dollar, and this is where we could see a nice bounce here, and maybe this is the point where everybody will say, hey, but the 200-day EMA provided fantastic support, and I knew that it's gonna bounce from here. Okay, fair enough. If you have the crystal ball, congratulations, But look, at this point, the way I'm trying to approach this carefully and cautiously, and I'm not going to be surprised, for example, if we do see this trading activity, that's just like sideways activity up until the PCE number. So don't be surprised. And then let's say once the number comes out, be careful. We might see up and down movement, and look, for me, it's this way. If I do see a push above this 1913 territory, I will get a little bit more excited with the upside, but only in the short run, because I'm going to aim for this downside line drawn from the high of the 3rd of May. Because let's not forget that as long as the downside line remains intact, the trend is still to the downside. Silver, similar story. Look, I'm again waiting for the number, and I said to you yesterday that as long as we stay below this 200-day EMA, I'm leaning towards the downside. My next target is the 22.11 territory. If that gets cleared, great. I will get a little bit more excited with further declines, and yes, a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed, and my next target in there will be somewhere around this territory, around the 21.3047 levels, approximately around here. And if we get a nice good test of it, then yes, maybe like a bit of a hold up here could be possible. But at this point, all eyes are, of course, like I said, on the US dollar and how it will react to the PCE number today. Copper, something that I don't look at very often, but look, today's Friday and I have a bunch of different commodities that I really wanted to pick up on. Copper, another metal, and this one's sliding. And look, I've talked about this one last week, and I said to you that we are in this little short-term rising channel pattern, but in order to go further north, I needed to see a push above this territory right here. There, let me just put this on the chart. Why is it not my friend today? There we go. So basically, this is what I was kind of leaning to for the upside. We got that false breakout, but again, it's a false breakout, and it then retrace back down. And look at the retracement and look at the break here. And I said to you that if we do break this this lower side of the rising channel, then yes, potentially more sellers could join in. And look at this, it happened exactly that. Now my question is what's going to happen further. To be honest, I think that in order to go lower, we need to see a drop below this 3.68 territory, somewhere around here. Good possible area of support, but if that gets broken, then yep, it could open the door towards the lowest point of May, near the 3.54 zone. Jumping into oil, guys. Oil. So we're still stuck. Look, the same analysis is valid. I'm still keeping an eye on this downside line, this key support zone right here, and because in general everything's kind of painting me a picture of a possible descending triangle pattern, which according to all the TA rules tends to break to the downside. So if we do drop below this area, the 66, or actually, you know what, the 67 zone, if we do fall below the 67 territory, then yes, I will lean a little bit more towards the downside. For the upside, well, the more we shift to the right here and below this downside line, the more I'm actually leaning towards the idea of actually aiming for this first. So if we do break the downside line, I will aim for that 72.72 territory first. Corn, look at the slide, guys, and this is what I wanted to pick up on. Look, previously I talked about it. It was working out nicely. We went higher. We went actually to test my downside line. There we go. Oh, this is beautiful. And what I want to do now is actually remove all the drawings. I'll bring the downside line back because it worked out perfectly. Oh, no. This way. There we go. So my downside line worked out perfectly. Okay, the idea that I talked about a breakout here that could, open the door towards some higher levels, great. The slide here came at, on concerns that, well, initially there were concerns that there will be drought in the U.S., but actually then, the rain, there were like, how to say, the good forecasts, weather forecast for some heavy rainfall. And I think that, yes, the whole kind of thing just fell off the cliff, and thinking that there will be still supply. And so far as well, the whole situation with Ukraine exports, they're still running, and there is still supply, basically. They're still exporting. But again, the question for how long, that's a good question. So at this point, I would say this way, that, well, look, let me try to see if I can squeeze something out of this one, because in general, this is quite attractive. In general, I am really, really loving this one. Because maybe it's something like this here. It could be like a broadening triangle, but maybe I'm just trying to see something where it's not. So I think that I rather stick to some key support and resistance levels. So for example, we broke the 547 territory. Okay, that's great. This opens the door towards some lower levels. but my next target is only around here somewhere, this area, the 497, or just basically the area around the 500 level. And then we will just kind of, see maybe we can get a rebound or something like that from around here. Sugar, another one that declined heavily. I talked about this one. I said to you last week that if we do clear this downside line and we stay above it, then yes, I will go higher, but we reversed back down. And I said to you then if we do fall below the 25 territory, I'll aim for the 24.23. But actually, look at the extension here. I mean, all the way towards that 200-day EMA. So now the question is, can we see a little hold up here? But to be honest, I think that there could be some more downside unless this territory, all this zone right here, will continue to provide good support. If it does, then yes, a bit of a rebound here could be possible because of the the sharp sell-off we had. But if we stay below this territory right here, this area between the 21.8689 levels, then this opens the door towards some further declines, like for example a retest of these 20.36 or even the psychological 20 level. But again, let's not rush into anything for now. Let's just keep an eye on this. Bitcoin, very quickly on that one. I talked about this yesterday. I said to you that look, this could be seen as a bullish flag, but a confirmation break is needed. But not only a break, we would need to see the body of the daily candle staying above this territory and so far above this 31,000 mark. But at the moment, we're just getting these little teases. If we do push through it and stay above it, then yes, I will go further north. For the downside, I would like to see a drop below the 28,440 territory right here, and then I'll consider a larger correction to the downside. A quick update on Ethereum. Also, look, I've mentioned this before, and I would like to say that I was a little bit skeptical even of my own idea, but actually it worked out perfectly. So, because look, I talked about this, and I said to you that we were declining, and said to you that, hey, keep your eyes on this upside support line, which still kind of, as you can see, continues to do a good job. Then I said to you, look, keep your eyes on the potential idea of a falling wedge pattern, which, according to all the TA rules, tends to break to the upside. And so far, everything's working according to the TA rules, technical analysis rules. And we pushed higher, and I said to you that within the pattern here, if we do climb above the 200-day EMA, I'll aim for the upper side of this pattern. We climbed above it, we tested it, and we cleared it as well. So now it seems like we're also forming a nice bullish flag. We're holding above the 50-day EMA. Beautiful idea for a possible neckline is forming here, because again, we could be seeing maybe a inverted head and shoulders pattern, but not a very attractive one, don't get me wrong, because let's put it this way, it should be somewhere here. But okay, the left shoulder is way too overextended maybe, but hey, in general, I would say just stick to the 1929-30 territory right here. If we clear it, then yes, and we stay above it, then yes, I'll get more excited with the upside. Litecoin, this one, talking about excited with the upside. I talked about this yesterday and said to you that keep your eyes on this upside line, and that's why I needed to see a drop below the upside line and below some of these levels. As you can see, why? That's the reason why, because it held nicely, we rebounded, and we're now breaking this downside line as well. This downside line taken from the high of the 18th of April. So if we continue to trade above it, then yes, I'm going to go further north, where my next target is the 100 zone, together with the 103.41 level marked by the highest point of April. We do have the highest point of this year as well, the 105.68, but that's a little bit for a little bit later. Jumping into a few pairs, guys, very quickly. AUDUSD, so far so good. Look, I talked about this yesterday, and I'm going to stick to the same game plan. We are still targeting the downside. We're still trading below the 0.6663 territory, and I said to you before that if we drop and stay below it, then yes, my next target is the 0.6560 area, somewhere around here. Simple as that. For the upside, I'm taking a very, very conservative approach, and I'm waiting for a push above the 0.6741 territory, somewhere around here, because at the same time, we would be placed above all of our above all of our EMAs on my daily chart. AUDJPY, also a possible falling wedge pattern, but look, so far the upper side is holding. So while we remain inside the pattern, there is still tendency to go to the downside. And if suddenly the markets start shifting, the equity market starts shifting lower to the downside, then we could see AUDJPY also declining, because the yen buying could get in a way. Sorry, not in the way, but it could kind of accompany the decline in the equities. So yes, we could see this pair drifting nicely to the downside. But in general, as long as we remain inside the pattern, there's still a tendency to go lower. But once we start clearing the upper side of this pattern, then yes, there is a potential for a move higher, and this is when I will aim for the highest point of June. I would like to say the current highest point of June, because we still have 1 day left of trading, but I don't know if we're gonna break here to the upside and like go all the way to test that 97.67 territory, but I think that will remain as the highest point of June. But of course, let's wait and see. USDJPY, so beautiful hold up, guys. I've tested my target 145.11, and in general, I talked about yesterday about that 145 territory and said that maybe the Japanese intervention will be needed. So it's kind of that point where I said to you that, look, I'm going to aim for that. I said to you I'm going to aim for the area between this 145.11 and the 90 zones. But as you can see, 11 was enough already, and we got a hold up here, and we're now drifting to the downside. Now my question is actually, will we get a sharper decline? Well, I would say this way: as long as we continue to trade below that 145 zone, I'm going to consider a correction here to the downside. If we start popping back above the 145 territory, maybe I'm going to shift back to the upside here. But with the upside, you see we already have made quite a decent up move here. But yeah, it could still continue rallying, guys. I mean, if the indices continue to rally, then this one could also continue to rally. But like I said, yes, as long as we stay below the 145 territory, I'm going to lean towards a bit of maybe a larger correction to the downside. USDCHF, I talked about this. Just a quick update. We're in a little range here within. So this little range is something that I'm keeping a close eye on. We're near the upper side of it, but that doesn't mean that we'll have to break it. Maybe we'll get a false breakout or something like that. Here we also have the 50-day EMA, which was providing fantastic resistance, as you can see. So yeah, if we do push above it and stay above the 0.90 territory, then great. Okay, I'll consider some higher levels, but only up until here somewhere. But up until this this whole territory around here, 0.9110, something like that. But yeah, we do have a bunch of levels here, but yeah, that's the little simple game plan here on USDCHF. For the downside, a drop below the 0.8907 here could attract more sellers, and we could aim then for the 0.8820. USDCAD, we're flirting still with that 1.3270 territory. Look at this. So this is still, yes, it's just teasing it. It's not really the most exciting thing here, but again, we'll wait for the PCE number. So at this point, I'm just observing this, but as you can see by the arrow drawn yesterday, I'm aiming for the upside if we do break this hurdle, but I'm aiming only for the 50-day EMA initially, and then we'll go from there. GBPCHF, this one, I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but look at this. I don't want to remove everything because I really like my downside line here, which I've drawn previously, and look how well it's working out. I rather actually get rid of some of the lines instead. At this point, I will mark the recent peak at the highest point of June near the 1.1505. This hurdle didn't really work out nicely. I think I need to mark this 1.1315 level instead, and this upside line could still be working out. But yeah, look, this is the weird game plan I will have here on GBPCHF. Let me just grab this line. There we go, this arrow. So we are currently trading nicely above this downside line, which got broken. And I told you several times that whenever we break a trend line, either it's an upside one or a downside one, we kind of tend to revisit it from the other side. And this is a perfect example again that we are doing exactly that. Yes, we pushed initially to the upside, but then yes, you can see that if this, let's say, downside line continues to act as a good area of support, yes, we might see, a retracement here, a move back to the upside. Now, the reason why I have my arrow this way, because we have a little territory right here, and let's say we do fall below the 1.1315 level. We fall below the downside, back below the downside line. We fall back below the 200-day EMA and the 50-day EMA, and this is where the bears will start thinking that, hey, great, we can start attacking, but no. The bears could start attacking, more bears could start attacking if we do break this upside line right here. Then we could consider like a nice move here to the downside and so on and so on. But also, the reason why I have my arrow this way is that, look, maybe we will break this, we'll move lower, we'll confirm, a nice drop here, but if it comes back up here and stays back above this downside, if it stays above this downside line, then we'll have ourselves a nice, beautiful false breakout, and it will also confirm the idea of, as you can see here, the 50-day EMA is now crossing the 200-day EMA, and that has not been for quite a while, guys. I'm going back to going back all the way to 2022, 21. Last time we crossed to the downside in November 21, and then we had an attempt, but then that's it, and now we're actually crossing this one. So, hey, maybe we'll see some more action here to the upside, but again, let's wait and see. Let's not rush into anything. For now, it's my little analysis. It's kind of working this way, but I'm very cautious near this downside line. I want to see what's going to happen here. Your GBPUSD, very quickly on this one, again, also drifting lower, but kind of, considering this idea still. I talked about this yesterday, and I'm just going to repeat what I said yesterday, that yes, there could still be some more downside, but I'm keeping a close eye on this upside line. If this upside line gets broken, then yes, I will get excited with further declines. EURGBP, my unfavored pair. I need to remove everything and start fresh on this one, because this is just a pain in the bottom here for me. Honestly, it has a life of its own, and I said it several times. Look, we found support somewhere near this 0.8518 level, and we rebounded. We pushed higher. We tested the 50-day EMA, where now it's providing good resistance, this 50-day EMA. If we want to go further north, I would say we would need to see a push above this barrier, the 0.8660 territory, and then yes, we could go higher. We could aim for that 100 or the 200-day EMA, and so on and so on. But in general, my ideal scenario would work this way, that let's say if we do push back above the 50-day EMA, yes, I will slowly start aiming higher, but if we start climbing above this 0.8660 territory, then yes, I'll get more excited with the upside, and then I'm going to slowly aim higher. Like I said, my ideal scenario is this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 3rd of February. EURJPY, beautiful move to the downside right now. It's happening. The question is, can we go lower? Well, that's something that I'm trying to answer here. From the very short-term perspective, we have this. So let me just jump into maybe a 1 hour chart. So from the short-term perspective, we have something like this. This is me looking at the shorter time frames, basically, making somebody happy. But anyway, okay. So look, this is where we are at right now. And you can see here, yes, we had that move to the downside, and the question is, will we get a stronger decline? And ideally, I would like to see a stronger decline. Ideally, I would like to see maybe like let's take a Fibonacci here, like something around this extended lines, right? So something around this. So if we do break this upside line, I would like to go and test to see a test of the 23.6 here, which is near the as you can see, it kind of coinciding nicely with the high here, or near the high of the 21st of June, and is near the low of the 26th of June. So if we do break the upside line, then yes, I would consider a possible move lower here. So let's keep an eye on that one. And like I said, on the hourly chart, we're currently testing this upside line, so maybe a bit of a bounce here could be possible. However, if we do push back up here, I think that the best option to go for higher levels is to wait for something like this, to wait for a push back above the current highest point of June. Okay, and finally, EURUSD, guys. EURUSD. Yesterday we saw a decline. The dollar accelerated. So yes, we moved to the downside. We tested my 50-day EMA, but as I said before to you yesterday, that I would prefer to wait for a drop below the 1.0844 territory, somewhere around here, and then we could. I will consider a larger correction here to the downside towards this upside line drawn from the low the 15th of March. So at this point, look, if you want to see some lower levels, then yes, I would. In my opinion, I would personally wait for a drop below this hurdle here, below this 1.0844, and then I'll slowly start considering further declines. But if you're looking for some higher levels in the short run, you know, you cannot wait for this 1.1012 territory, then maybe we could draw a downside line right here, and that, you know, we could consider as a possible barrier for entry for the upside. However, again, it's not ideal. You still need to, you know, be careful with this, have your stop loss in place, risk only what you can afford to lose. And, you know, but because again, it could give us a false breakout, it might not even, you know, travel higher. So just keep that in mind, guys. So that's it, guys. That's it for this session. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys, your views, your likes, your comments, everything. I really do, and I hope you found this useful. So look, join me on Monday, as always, 6 o'clock GMT time. We'll have a review of the next week's upcoming events. We'll see what the market has prepared for us. But yeah, I hope you have a fantastic trading day, guys, today. Stay safe, have your stop losses in place. Don't overtrade. It's Friday. Remember that if you're already doing well this week, just, don't try to risk everything, and don't try to risk losing everything today. So just, enjoy your profits. Always, if it's even the smallest one, it's still a profit. So enjoy them. And yeah, guys, have a beautiful trading day. See you on Monday. Bye-bye. Hey there, thank you very much for watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. So, like this video, we speculate your next mass movement will be towards the subscribe button.